Well, technology editor and science reporter at The Independent, Andrew Griffin, joins us now from London. Now, Andrew, thanks so much for taking the time to join us, because this is happening as we speak. Can you update us on which major apps and websites have been affected, and for how long have they been down?
Yes, it started sort of about exactly two hours ago, when everything all of a sudden and at that time, without explanation, just stopped working. So that's, as you mentioned, big social apps, Snapchat. Here in the UK, at least, it's loads of banks. It's lots of gaming platforms. It's Amazon itself, which does rely on Amazon Web Services, as you might expect. And so it's essentially anyone who's relying on that technology, which can be anything from games to really important apps too.
So therefore, this impacts users here in Australia as well.
Yes, yeah, it's global. The problem, Amazon says, is a facility in Northern Virginia in the US. But obviously the interlinked and international nature of this stuff means that as soon as there's a problem somewhere, there's a problem everywhere, which does appear to be, including Australia and everywhere else.
Can you explain to us a little bit more about what the problem appears to be? It's an issue at Amazon Web Services. So what does that do, and how would it impact websites and apps?
Yeah, Amazon Web Services, sometimes people say it's kind of the most important internet service you haven't heard of. I think more people have heard of it now, but it is absolutely huge. It actually accounts for the majority of Amazon, the parent company's profits, more than, the thing we mostly know them for, sending us packages and all of that. The business is kind of the infrastructure of the web. If you're, take Snapchat, and you need computers, and you need servers and all those sorts of things to send people the snaps that they're constantly sending across the world. Instead of Snapchat or whoever else taking the big investment of building a data center to do that, you can hire Amazon and borrow their data centers and their computers and all of those things, which more and more companies do. It obviously makes sense. They don't have to invest, and Amazon is very good at that and can have economies of scale and build these massive data centers everywhere, which is great most of the time. But as soon as there's a problem, as there is here, we don't know exactly what the problem is. As we speak, Amazon has posted an update saying they found the problem, but not what it is. But clearly, an important technology is broken that everyone is relying on, and so very quickly you can imagine how that cascades and causes issues for all of the various apps that do rely on.
Yeah, we're seeing it. Yeah, we're seeing it all unfold now. So far, what has Amazon said, and do we know how long this outage could go on for?
They've the fun and sometimes difficult thing about these outages when they do happen is you hear directly from the engineers, and I'm sure they're very clever and great at their jobs, but they can be slightly technical sometimes. So everything they've said is slightly technical, and as I say, we've only just received word that they have found the problem. We know they're working on it and working both to fix the kind of ongoing problems and find what the root cause of that is. And as I say, they do say they found a potential root cause, which would hopefully mean bringing things back online. But it's, in terms of how long we've got, it's been 2 hours now, and we don't have an end in sight. And usually with these things, you don't have an end in sight until you found the problem, at which point you can fix it, if that makes sense. And so it tends to be, we don't know anything, and then all of a sudden things will fix, and usually things get back online pretty quickly. But who knows? I don't think Amazon would even know at this point.
2 hours seems like a long time when you're using apps and going online. Tell us about the app Down Detector and how we're getting information from that.
Yeah, it's a really useful service which tracks user reports and both kind of direct user reports. You can go on there and log that a certain app isn't working for you, but they have a very clever system that monitors social media and stuff too for when people start complaining. It's a really helpful tool. You can see when these problems happen, and ordinarily it's a technical tool that the companies themselves use, because it's obviously most important for them to know when the problems happen, but it's also, you can then see on the grand scale when everything breaks. This morning as it is here, opened up and it was a kind of glowing, horrible red, which is when you know that something horrible has happened, and suffice to say, it has.
So this is affecting companies that rent storage and computers to run their services from Amazon Web Services. So potentially, how many companies could be affected, and therefore apps and websites? How big is this outage in the scheme of things?
Yeah, it's absolutely huge. I mean, there's if you run an app or a website, the chances are you're relying on a service like this, and actually, if it's most likely to be Amazon, because they compete with Microsoft and Google to offer these services, but they're the biggest. And you know, it's the Snapchats and the Fortnites and the Robloxes that get the attention, but you know, that it goes down to the tiniest web store or various technical services that people might be using at work. You know, in our case, I know at the newspaper we've got a couple of services that rely on Amazon Web Services, and we haven't been able to use properly this morning. So the scale is huge, and as I say, you can see that in the big apps, but there'll be all sorts of much smaller, less dramatic problems going on this morning too, I'm sure.
Well, we'll be keeping a close eye on this, as I'm sure you are. Andrew Griffin, on the massive online outages we're seeing globally. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.